I gotta wait. How long I gotta wait for a press record?
Go.
Welcome to the chair, where Miss Dreme always has a story.
It's Dreme, and we got a season 2. Your Black Bostonian here, a product of a single mother who I work to make proud every single day. I'm a 3-degree holder, your veteran educator, your tech entrepreneur, and founder of the Chair platform. My platform is dedicated to supporting Black and Brown people on their hair journey by creating hairboards, connecting to hairstylists, and sharing haircare tips for a more joyous experience. My podcast is about sharing hair stories, educator stories, entrepreneurship stories, and stories surrounding identity with goals to leave you laughing, learning, and advocating. So come in and listen to the stories in the chair.
Where we share stories in the chair.
Hey, beautiful people. The story I want to share today is about a time when I was filled with a lot of doubt at the beginning of my journey when it came to building the chair. I've mentioned it before about the start of building the chair in a couple of past episodes at the beginning through other conversations that it started out in a blockchain class. My professor at the time, at the very beginning, he said, interview Black people you know and just talk with them about their hair journey. And he said, just listen. And so I did 32 interviews of different Black people that I knew and Black people I didn't know for friends of friends of friends. So people from Massachusetts, people from Chicago, people from LA. And just asked them questions. It was very, very survey-like. It was the things they tell you to do in business school. Like you're trying to think about how much they're spending. You're trying to figure out the problem. You're trying to figure out what the solution is that they're currently doing. So you ask all these questions and you really just sit there and you write notes, things that keep coming up, patterns. You record it so you can listen to it back. So I did that 32 times. And then after the interviews, you basically stare at all your data and you try to find the patterns through these interviews. So I learned that our hair journey could be broken down in so many different ways. Instead of it being like when talking to white people, it would be, I want to get my hair done. I call the shop. I walk in. I walk out. There's way more steps when it comes to thinking about a hair journey for Black people. We got to think about the style. We got to think about the occasion. From there, after you got the style and the occasion, then you got to actually buy hair if you need to buy it. And where do you get it? Then from there, you're thinking about how long will the style last? How much will it cost? Then from there, you got to think about who can do it, because not every hairstylist can do the style that you're looking for in the price range that you want. Then you got to sit in the chair. Then you're thinking about customer service. You're thinking about time management. Then after it's done, you got to decide whether or not you like it. Does it fit your standards? What is the aftercare? How long? And this process happens over and over for many different hairstyles, for many different things. So I was able to build a tiny little graph to explain like all these steps. And it came to thinking about brands, thinking about hair. What does loyalty look like? I'm just figuring out these patterns through these interviews, because you can be your first customer, but then you got to continue to iterate. So these interviews were just figuring out what is the problem. Because remember, my professor, the white man, he said, what is the problem with the hair journey in it? But if he's coming from the perspective of beginning, middle, end, then when I did the interviews, I realized there's many different problems. There's problems in the supply chain. There's problems with customer service. There's problems here. There's problems with payment. There's problems with bookings. There's so many different problems. So now it's trying to figure out, what problem do I want to solve? Which one do I want to spend all my time doing? That is when I ended up meeting another professor, Professor Ruben Mancha, and he was teaching my class, Agile Experimentation. And I was talking to him about these thoughts. I had these interviews, this thought, and I didn't know where to go. But I was like, there's something here, and I need to flesh this out and figure this out. And the one thing that I will always take from business school that helped me understand business better was that if you know you have a problem, sometimes it really is just the way you ask the question. Repeatedly asking different versions of different questions to get you somewhere, to get you moving, to get you exploring. So he suggested I read books. He would give me books and just read about other experiences. One of my favorite books that he gave me is called Matchmakers. I learned about how MySpace started and died. It digs into Airbnb's model. It just digs into so many different platforms and service models just to help me think about what does this have to do with my world. There weren't companies about Black women doing hair, but if I'm building a platform, if I'm building a service, was I selling something? Like, there were things I automatically knew. I didn't want to sell hair. I didn't want to make product. I was like, there's so many people who are chemists who want to make products for Black people. I didn't want to sell hair because I didn't have any interest in that. But I knew I wanted to be able to connect the people together. I knew I wanted to figure out how can that chemist I met who has this amazing hair product meet the Black woman who just moved here from Chicago who is also looking for a beauty supply store. I knew I wanted to be able to connect everybody together. I knew I wanted to build something that was more collaborative instead of being competitive. I knew I wanted that. But what would that look like? That's when I start digging into learning about Airbnb, learning about House, the app, learning about Pinterest, just to be able to answer the question, what is it that you're trying to build? So as I'm doing this process, I'm digging into more research. I'm interviewing more Black people about their hair experience, and I know this is a problem because it wasn't just my problem. I apply for a summer program that would help me think through my business.
Where we share stories in the chair.
Look, it's my commercial. We will be right back.
It's more than just a bad hair day. It's a journey. Finding the right hairstyle isn't easy, nor is finding the right stylist or the right products. Looking in every corner of the web gets messy, overwhelming, and exhausting. All the ads, the articles, the products, the videos, it shouldn't be this hard, but it is. And now, it isn't. The Chair. A black and brown centered platform where you can design hairboards, connect to hairstylists, and share hair care tips for a new, joyful path on your hair journey. Avoid the clutter, save yourself hours, months, and even years of research and poor trial and error. Everything you need and only what you need is in one place. Hairboards made by people like you, for you. Find the right products, the right people, the right answers for you, stress-free. Join the Chair community and make every day a great hair day. When you share your pain, you allow others to help you. And when you share your success, you help others get theirs. Lean on the Chair. We got you. No stress, no strife. In the chair, the chair, the chair. All right.
But you have to go through interview process. You have to explain your issue. I was explaining my issue, expanding on the intricacies of Black hair to a group of white women who were the judges of this panel, who would either greenlight me to get accepted into the program. And they said to me, I don't see your problem. And I was angry. I was frustrated. And I was like, okay, maybe it's just the way I'm explaining it. There was another white woman who saw me there. Her name was Cheryl Kaiser. She saw me struggling. And she was like, try again. So I went back home and I redid the PowerPoint. I was like, I'm going to explain this better. I'm going to explain. I need for them to understand so I can get accepted into this program, learn some more about how to really build this business to be able to solve this problem when it came to connections and information and education when it came to your hair journey. So I was up all night. I redid it. I come back the next day, back to the panel. I come with a different PowerPoint, different language, different words, and I get the same response. We don't see the problem. We don't think this is a big issue. So with that, I was so upset. I felt defeated. I felt frustrated. I was like, I've been doing this. I've been digging into the research. I've been having the interviews. I have the primary. I have the secondary. I have a plan. I have thoughts. But they said no. And again, shout out to Cheryl Kaiser. She saw me and said, hey, I don't think that I can truly help you, but I want to give you the space so you can figure out what it is that you're trying to explain. She created a one-woman incubator. So every week, me and her would talk. I would explain to her what I was doing, and she, again, would just ask a ton of questions. I would explain to her where I was getting stuck, and she, again, would ask a whole bunch of questions. And every week, I would go out my way and end up meeting different people, talking to different people. And she would keep saying, go talk to some more people in the field of tech, in the field of software. Go talk to some more people in marketing. Go talk to some more hairstylists to figure out what it is that you're trying to build so you can be able to explain it. So even though I was denied entry into this summer program because people didn't see me, one person saw me. Cheryl saw me. Of course, I think I would have still struggled if Cheryl didn't see me, and it would have taken longer. But I was persistent. Just because they didn't see me doesn't mean that my problem isn't real, that my thoughts aren't real, that I can't not achieve the goal of creating this platform. Because it was always a question of, at first they go, okay, that's a cool idea. Where's the research? Then after the research, they'd be like, okay, that's cool research. Where's the backing? So then you're thinking about the secondary research. Okay, cool. You have your primary research. You have your secondary research. Okay, now I need to see it. So for months, for the summer months, my goal was to build it. And this is what they call your MVP, right? Can you make it move? Can people see what it is that you're trying to create that is real? Then you build that. Then they go, will people actually want this? So then you go back to doing more research based on your janky MVP to prove your point. So I'm at the place now, they're like, oh, okay, you built it. Okay, it works. Okay, you have some interest. Now I need you to prove that you have engagement. Oh, and if you're interested to learn more about my experiences as a Black woman, an educator in Guangzhou, China, I wrote my first ebook titled Nowhere and Everywhere, Captured Emotions of a Beautifully Broken Love Story. It is on lulu.com. Take a read and see some beautiful photography of mine. Enjoy the rest of the show. I feel like every time there's a new problem, there's 17 more doors to think about. So the doubt I've learned will always be there. Like, it doesn't fully disappear. I've learned that even with the doubt, I still can open a door. It may be the wrong door the first time. It may be the wrong door the 17th time. But there is eventually going to be another door. And then that may be the right door. I spend a lot of time thinking about that. I think about my why. I started this because I was having conversations about Black hair and listening to Black people be frustrated about their hair journey. That's how I feel when I think about doubt. It will always be there, but it isn't going to stop me. And I feel like I'm re-inspired by doing this podcast because I get to hear these hair stories, different hair stories, from nurses to naval officers to professors to teachers to scientists, radio hosts. There are so many people who have their own hair stories and how it's wrapped up in their identity, how it's wrapped up in their day-to-day, how they fall in love with themselves over and over because of hair, how they are frustrated, how they are discriminated against in the workspace because of hair. Wouldn't it be amazing to have a platform where we can have these conversations, at the same time design these beautiful hairboards, be able to go to your hairstylist with these hairboards created, being able to see their portfolios all in one space instead of being confused about where all the things are, overwhelmed by how much information is on TikTok or Instagram, not being able to get the right algorithm on YouTube. How about if we could all do that in one space with hairstylists, with your own creativity, with people who are asking the same question, and you can search it and type it the way you want to type it because you know a black woman built it. So the language will match. It will make sense. Wouldn't that be great? Well, it exists. It's at the beginning stages, but we all got to start somewhere. And I would, of course, love your support. Critique it. Help me grow it. Help me highlight how that, even though my doubt can sometimes be loud, love is louder than that.
Welcome to the chair, where Miss Dreme always has a story.
Thank you for listening to an episode of The Chair. I'm going to share with you a dream of mine. I would love to be on Sesame Street. Sesame Street held my hand through childhood. In my dream, I would be in my big afro or rainbow braids sitting on the stoop sharing hair stories. I would like your help, please, by doing all the things like leave a review, share it with someone who would benefit from hearing this episode. And if you know someone who knows someone who knows someone at Sesame Street, share your favorite episode with them, and I'll make you some of my famous chocolatey hot chocolate. I hope you have a beautiful day, or if you are like me, still up in the middle of the night, I hope you take a deep breath and rest. Love you. Talk to you later.
The chair.
Hello. Please leave a message after the tone.
Dream, hello. I just wanted to tell you you're wonderful. I just got through going through your podcast. Love you, love you, love you, love you. Keep it up. Maybe I need to send it to Oprah and Tyler Perry. Love you, baby. You are great.
Where we share stories in the chair.